Okay, let's get into this.
Be Kool-Aid.
Be Kool-Aid. Secret House again. So I flipped it a little bit.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
you know it's hip hop. You know it's hip hop. Yeah, Tokyo-based hip hop art and culture. Secret House against the world. It's me and Jet here today, and we are going to be discussing the Be Kool-Aid album, the collaborative project between Pink Siifu and Ahwlee, and also maybe Butcher Brown seems to be like on every track too. I don't know if he's a part of the thing, but yeah, Leather Boulevard, 16 songs, an hour and 7 minutes, like a full-length album we've got here today. Yeah, and at the Secret House, we'd like to remind you guys we'd like to thank our patrons. We've got a few more now. I think we've got 8 or 9 patrons.
Amazing, thank you.
Shout out to you guys. Names will be at the end of the video with a little appreciation.
Is there something we can do about like the suggested video boxes that pop up at the end? Because I've noticed it's been covering up our patrons' names at the end of the.
We can choose where the placement is kind of at. I haven't really thought of it. I always just use the default type of joint, but probably should allow it to show their names a little better, right?
I feel like maybe Robobo and No Name got covered up on the last couple. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, you know, like I want to give a appreciation for all the tiers, right? Like the $5 and the $1 tier, but really it was only supposed to be like the $5 tier that gets an official shout out, whatever. But I've been putting like the $1 cats on there too, and to be honest with you, it's a painstaking process. It takes me like an additional amount of time, and I do love the appreciation, but damn, I should just like, you know, like some people just have like a printout and it's just got all their names on it while I try to add it to the video. Yeah, I'll figure it out. But shout out to the patrons. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear us discuss things that happen in Tokyo, as well as in particular underground, independent, and sometimes not independent, but kind of underground hip hop rap albums. Yeah, so we're back today. We like to start by letting viewers know how we're familiar with the artists that we're reviewing. And we've reviewed Pink Siifu's, what was it, Gumbo?
Gumbo.
We reviewed that before, so go back and check if you want to hear kind of our thoughts on his arts. And our man El Spade was there too for that one. So, yeah, he'll be back soon. But yeah, you know, I like Pink Siifu. I like Ahwlee. Ahwlee was on, and I was going to actually release our top 10 songs of the year last year too, but maybe later. But yeah, you know, Ahwlee was on one of my favorite tracks. The Theravada project that did, I forget who's all on it right now, so I'm having a blank, but yeah, I like Ahwlee a lot. I like fucking Pink Siifu a lot. I'm not familiar with Butcher Brown. How about you?
More or less same page. I'm not like massively familiar with Ahwlee. This is the first time I've listened to the two of them as a group, and also my first kind of full-length Ahwlee. I like them both, but something that I've always struggled with Pink Siifu is just getting that past that initial layer of haze that kind of hangs over all the records. And this one is no different in that respect. I kind of took me a couple listens to really know what to say about it.
Yeah, I actually listened to it a few times too. The thing that first stood out to me as I looked at the track list and started to play it though was the amount of dope people who are involved in this project.
Yep.
The feature list has people like DJ Harrison, who, if you guys don't know, DJ Harrison is fucking ill. Liv is on it, Jametta Rose, VCR, Mind Design, our guy Devin Morrison. Shout out to Devin Morrison, Tokyo alumni. You know, that's our people. Fucking Camilla, Black Deco, and some of these people I don't know, but fucking we've got Denmark Vesey, Mo Ruff, Quelle Chris, Nita Darling, who else? Salamata, I think that might be the name. Funky Chunky, I don't know that person either, but you know, with guys like
you could be like, making shit up right now.
You know what I mean?
I believe you. Yeah.
But there. Oh, and also fucking Big Rube, who was also on the King Vision Ultra album. He is, for those of you who aren't familiar with Big Rube, the first time I've heard him was when I was in like junior high on the AT Aliens album. He had, and that was like one of the first times I was like, there's a straight poem, you know what I mean? Spoken word poem on an album. And he is just like, you know, I guess an ATL or Southern alum when it comes to spitting poetry. And he's on a couple tracks on this album. So shout out to him. Also, the return of Ladybug Mecca, Diggable Planets.
Yeah.
Yo, the women on this shit, Jametta Rose, Liv, Ladybug Mecca. Yeah, this is a crazy lineup for an album, and I think all of those features add specific ingredients that elevate this project.
It's not a too many cooks type situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like filler or bloatedness. Even when Siifu and Ahwlee take a back seat on certain tracks, there's the joint where it's just basically just Live on there, right?
Yeah.
Track's a couple minutes long, and it adds to the broader texture of the record.
Agreed. It did take me a while to get into it too, man. To be honest with you, this album is very fucking. It's cool. It's cool in a way that's like it's hip, it's chill, it's calm. It feels sophisticated, and it's kind of like sexy and sensual in a lot of ways too. That don't really like. I'm not a hip cool guy like fucking Pink Siifu. Like these cats, you know what I mean? Like they're mad cool. Like I'm dope, I would say. I feel like I'm dope, but this is like a level of. This is like a coolness. This is like a cool black cat. Like you know what I mean? Like a hazy, and the album kind of carries that vibe throughout the whole thing. It's not quite like a jazz performance. It's not quite like a hip hop performance. It's not quite like an R&B performance, but it has all of these elements that kind of weave together this tapestry of just like really cool hip. I want to call it like a neo soul type of album, but it doesn't quite meet the criteria, right?
Honestly, like one of the albums that this kind of invoked for me, maybe a weird pull, was Remain in Light by Talking Heads. Because that album was created through the process of they were jamming a song off the previous album. They would start just by playing like the main riff from, I think, the song I Zimbra off of Fear of Music. And then they would just slowly change and evolve that song until they had something completely different. And this album, to me, sounds like a lot of really, really dope people started playing Chicken Grease by D'Angelo.
It does
and
have
then
that
it slowly and
of...
surely, every single track slowly took form into something kind of unique with the individual flavors and expressions of each artist that's present on it kind of taking form. I'm sure that's not how the album actually came into fruition, but that was kind of the feeling I got from it.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point, because even on one of my favorite songs of the album, the Brandy Aaliyah shit, it starts off with like a straight up like a reworking of a Brandy song. Yeah. And then it turns into a whole different type of thing with, Quelle and Denmark and Mo Ruff kind of rapping and really making it something else. But there's a lot of this album that does kind of have that cool soul Aquarian, especially that's kind of what I'm think I was trying to say with like the sexy, sensual D'Angelo type of vibe. Like it does have that, but it also has like a real street appeal to it too, in a way that D'Angelo never really hits. This album is unique for that reason. For me, it just felt like, usually when you have like a Pink Siifu album, and I kind of just use Pink Siifu because I feel like he's slightly more prolific. He has more like full-length albums, and usually his albums take left turns and right turns, and it's the sound radically changes, the approach radically changes. This album does deviate and kind of delve into different genres, but it kind of maintains a cohesion to the sound, and that was one of the things that I feel like at times it's kind of meandering a little bit and doesn't really get to where it's going.
Yeah, and that's kind of the, like I said, there's this haze that hangs over everything that Pink Siifu usually, puts his hands on, where it's a little impenetrable at times, where I'm kind of like, okay, I can see what they're doing. There's like a general vibe that kind of is coming across here, but like maybe there's not much going on lyrically, or even much going, the chord progression or whatever isn't all that interesting. And it's kind of just like, okay, I'm just like nodding my head, I'm kind of vibing to it. Obviously this album is over an hour long. It's a long record. That said, I didn't really struggle with the length of it.
Yeah, neither did I.
I've vocally complained about the length of albums before as like a major criticism. I felt that way about the Kendrick. I thought that was too long. I thought the
objectively, I feel that's
the Corner One. I thought that album was too long as well.
Yeah.
But this one, I guess because it is so kind of vibe heavy, vibe oriented, you do kind of get pulled into it, and in that respect, I guess it's more comparable to something like Man Plays the Horn than one of these albums where I'm like, okay, man, like, come on, let's.
I mean, the final track of the album, we got leather this, we got leather that, or whatever it's called. It's like 9 minutes, and it kind of it just rocks. I think a lot of the features and the people who collaborate on this album give it a lot more breathing space than something like the Kendrick. Even though Kendrick has collabs, but like it feels like a little bit more intense, or even what's the old boy you just said his name? The album, The Corner Volume 1?
Yeah,
Jadasea. Even the Jadasea, like it changes and shit, but it feels like long. This one, I mean, I was vibing to it the whole time. I think that at the time, because we were planning on doing this like 3 weeks ago, I want to say. Yeah. But I've listened to it several times, and, you know, every once in a while I play it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get a little bit more of a different vibe from it this time. This is very much to me like a house type of album, not house music, but like you turn it on the house, you chill, you vibe, it's in the background, but there's also something really dope and special happening. I really enjoy quite a few of these songs, and some of the other ones I could do without. I do like the intro is great. The intro is great. Welcome to Leather Boulevard. Can't Go Back is really dope. When the cymbals come in and start crashing, it kind of gives a whole different vibe from the verse track. I really like that a lot. I like What's Up with our man Devin Morrison. Devin Morrison, for people that don't know, man, he's doing something really interesting in terms of like R&B. Like it's like he's got kind of this like shy, like SHAI, like this throwback 80s R&B cool kind of.
Yeah, it's very smooth, like pre-New Jack swing evolution type.
It definitely is pre-New Jack Swing, but he just seems like a guy to be wearing like sunglasses with one of them old suits without a shirt on under it and shit.
It's like
you know what I mean?
Monologue in the middle of the song at some point.
Yeah, hey, like my brother-in-law Lee dressed just like how I imagine Devin Morrison music sounds, and back in the 80s, and that one is really good. And Devin is just, you know, he got a shout out on the Smoke Break album, the Pink Siifu and maybe it was Flyana, I forget. I don't know what's up with my memory lately, but he got a shout out on that, and I text Devin. I was like, "Hey, word!" And he's like, "Yeah, those are my people and shit." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's good to see him working with them, especially somebody like Jametta Rose, who is just like so dope and a part of been rocking with so many of the LA cats, and what she's kind of done to put this new kind of vibe of jazzy R&B or whatever concoction she's putting together. She's just really dope, and that's dope. That like all of the joints that she's on are dope, sound good with her is really dope. Fool's LSA, which is like Big Ruben and Ladybug Mecca do like a spoken word joint right before the track transitions to Chalk Around It. And then Ladybug Mecca has like a more of a verse, and then there's the beat is a little bit more up tempo. That's great, leading into Crazy with an X. It's odd, off, and choppy. It sounds like some crime jazz shit. In fact, that whole run all the way up to Streets Got Pages is great. Fucking whoever that is, if that's Liv and Jametta Rose rapping at the end of Streets Got Pages, that shit is fucking hard. It's like a freestyle, but I was like, yo, and you know, it sounds kind of like it's another one of those it's like a field recording. It sounds like it's not even supposed to be happening. It's like we saw Mad Turtles type of shit.
It's very organic, and that's something that's true for the whole record. Like some of the kind of spoken word or like more interlude parts on there feel almost like they were just made up on the spot, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It was just kind of like, oh, this is
jazzy,
like improvisational. This is what, you know, how I was feeling after the performance of this song. It feels like it was done in the same take in a lot of these cases.
It's dope, man. Like, I can't say that I did too much of a deep dive into a lot of the lyrics, and I'm not sure that there's actually like
too
anything
much going on there. Yeah.
To, you know, it's a lot of cool people shit. It's a lot about like, you know, fucking and partners and navigating a lot of the more typical shit. But there's some stuff on there that's fucking funny. That Chalk Around It sample that they got, where the dude is yelling in the background, he's like, "The devil done heard you talk to yourself. You said all kinds of fucked up shit to yourself." I like it, man. It's like.
Yeah. I do really dig the sexuality of this record, you know. I think both of us, although you more than me, really occasionally struggle with the horny elements of a lot of hip hop, right? And this album is very, very horny, but not in like just this very kind of traditional like I'm a 23-year-old man type of way. you know, it's obviously you hear this there's a lot of feminine perspectives on there. You know, there's a whole interlude about, you know, he's so fine, I want to suck his dick, like type shit.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, that's,
you know,
right there.
Broadly, you know, there's, not to get like too like abstract, because I hate that shit, but you know, there's a real nice balance of like masculine and feminine energy on there, and you know, it doesn't feel like overly heteronormative,
or even like toxic and
or toxic. Right.
There's like a implied consent, like this is
celebratory.
how grown folk,
Yeah.
this is like how grown folks talk when they're comfortable around each other.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't really care for the overtly sexual shit. Like you said, like I don't really care about. Yeah, I want to suck his dick. Like he's so fine, I want to suck his dick. Or even the you know, the opposite, where a dude's talking about doing something. But this album's like sexuality is. I feel like if I was just like, if me and a lady had a night to ourselves, this is something I could put on and we could rock to.
Yeah.
Like if I had a date or some shit, I could put this on and it's like, this shit is cool. This shit probably gets, you know what I mean? Like women will mess with this, dudes will mess with this, and it's good. It's like good fucking vibe music, bro. And damn, just having Ladybug Mecca and Liv and Jametta Rose on there, to me, it kind of any argument for it being like too horny male type of shit. It's like the women on this album are kind of the fucking stars for me. Like I'm just like, yo, it's so dope. I did want to ask, like, who is VCR, bro? I've seen him working with DJ Harrison for, you know, a couple of different projects and shit. Like, I don't know who that is, but I see VCR all the time, and I feel kind of fucked up because I haven't done the homework on it.
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay.
This is my first experience.
If you're familiar with him, in the comments, man, let us know. Hit me to game. I do need to do a little bit of homework on this. I know that Butcher Brown was pretty much on every single track, and I imagine that he's sitting there kind of, you know, producing a lot of these tracks. I want to give a special shout out to him because the vibes on this are really dope. You know?
Yeah.
It is a vibey album, though. Like, you might not be able to listen to this if you go into the gym.
Or if you're like particularly concerned about like song craft. In terms of, you know, not even necessarily verse, chorus, verse, but something that's a little more structured, a little more lucid, something to really like grab a hold of. This, you know, to its credit, really feels like an album.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a set of songs. Like, I don't think you could just pick your favorites off of this and make a nice playlist and it would be superior to the product that we got.
I actually didn't. You know, as I was reading over my notes and shit, I was just like, oh, damn, I have like 5 stars on this whole run, like 7 tracks.
Yeah.
And that just kind of, you can't have that one spoken word joint with Big Rube and then Ladybug Mecca and not immediately couple it with the next track that it kind of goes into the same shit. Ladybug Mecca goes and she starts rapping of it. Like, it is an album. It is a cohesive and I think well thought out album in terms of the type of music they made, the type of collaborators they got, and the type of experience that I think they're trying to put out. I haven't really heard anything quite like this before. It does evoke a feeling of, I think, like this song right here, it's got the Brandy shit, right? There's a nostalgia, but it's also very kind of modern, new, and contemporary in a way that I don't know anybody who's making music like this. And for that reason, even outside of my taste, I would recommend this to, you know, so many people just to kind of fucking check it out. If you're a fan of any of the people featured on this shit, definitely check it out.
Absolutely. I would recommend this to my friends who smoke weed and listen to a lot of like stonerish music, because this is not that in like a very traditional sense, but at the same time it would feel right at home in your little smoke session, you know, candles and shit.
Word.
This is a candles album.
Yeah, definitely.
No electronic lights.
Yeah, this looks like some incense shit. You gotta burn some incense when you listen to this. But if you putting something in the air, you gotta put it in the air with the incense. This is my favorite song on the album, Brandy and Leah. That I kind of feel like they execute the vibe of the album perfectly on this. But also, it's got, you guys, people on the channel know how huge of a fan of Denmark Vesey is. I am. When we sit the other direction, look towards the door, you guys can see the Martin Lucid Dream. picture that I have. I love Denmark, and he's on this killing. Also, huge fans of Quelle Chris. Mo Ruff kills it, man. This album is just... I like to give a shout out to our Patreon followers. I feel like I should just read the names now instead, so I don't have to make a video. But it's kind of dope putting a little video,
like,
right?
The King Vision Ultra one. Yeah. Go back and rewatch that if you haven't seen like the ending of the King Vision Ultra when the beat drops in and then it's like the train footage that I took when I was coming home. Like that shit was dope. It looks so sick. It looked
all right. Yeah, pulled that shit off.
Sick.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Secret House again.
I know this flow, like, and this rhythm. I'm trying to think where it's from. It almost sounds like these bitches love so here with the like.
Taking chances, breaking fast when the sun go. Papa let the sun go. Might walk slow, different angles. Know the light close. We was dancing under halos. We was singing. Stress got me on the tightrope. I be pacing. Mind clear through the smoke in the basement. I'ma keep my soul when the devil show faces. Levels if you ain't know the stages. Mama say slow down. Papa need to slow down. Venom tryna hold down. All I see is guys round burning sage. Freedom on my shirt like I know the way. Breathe with me. Getting tight bold now, you can chill with me. For real. Chill. Try to set my mind at ease. Fuck real. Time.